I'm the dude. So that's what you call me.
Are you a virgin?
Yeah, not since I was 10.
Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
Come on to the coast. We get together, have a few laughs.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Can I return it if it doesn't fit?
It always fits. Eventually.
Welcome back, Movie Minglers. I'm Caveman.
And I'm Maggie.
And today we're on episode 29, and we're doing American Psycho.
Yep. People fucking love this movie.
Yes.
I have a lot of friends that fucking love this movie.
A lot of people love this movie. We'll get into we're going to get into it. Yeah, it's a very beloved film.
And I would like to ask the single question of why.
Well, we will talk about that, about the why. American Psycho was directed by Mary Herron. The movie came out in 2000. In the year 2000.
In the year 2000.
She directed an episode of both Oz and the TV show Constantine, I never saw Oz, but Constantine was really great.
They referred to this movie as a movie written by a misogynist and filmed by a feminist.
I can see that. Yeah. I was a little surprised that I didn't notice more projects on her IMDb because this movie is so beloved. And you would think there would be some more movies.
Well, I mean, she's
done stuff, and she's directed and has directed a lot. She's 28 projects.
I mean, the Notorious Betty Page was...
The Notorious Betty Page
was kind of a big thing. Like, I remember it being talked about a lot. I remember watching it when it came out. Like,
she also directed like an episode of 6 Feet Under and an episode of The L Word.
But I think that you're kind of... I remember Dollyland being a thing. I don't remember the Moth Diaries. I remember I Shot Andy Warhol. Like, I'm just saying, like, I remember, she hasn't done a lot of work, but, she has done some notable things more than just an episode of 6 Feet Under.
And I guess what I'm saying is, with this movie being...
Yeah, this is her biggest work.
Which I think there's plenty of directors out there who started with something similar to this kind of film. Not the subject matter, maybe, but the budget and the success and the fan base. You would like the fact that she hasn't done like an A24 or Neon or...
Well, maybe she doesn't want to anymore. Maybe she's good, right? I mean, for God's sakes, the woman was born in 1953. Maybe she's just tired these days. Like, maybe she's happy with her career.
I'm not saying that she had a bad career.
Kind of sounds like you're saying she's unhappy with her career.
No, I didn't say that.
Kind of sounds like Caveman is saying that he is a misogynist who doesn't believe that women should be directors.
No, that's the writer of this story.
What is it? Ellis Page?
Brett
Ellis.
Brett Easton Ellis.
Wow, I was way off. Samsonite. I was way off. I personally, I don't know his work too well, but I do have a very dear friend who... I feel comfortably enough quoting him when he said, David Easton Ellis is a cunt. So I don't imagine I'm going to like this guy terribly. Apparently he's just a yuppie who likes to write things about yuppies. And God damn it, do I hate that sort of.
Wait till we get to the quote.
Well, oh boy.
Now that we've talked about, I guess I completely did threw Mary Herron right under the bus.
A little bit.
Even though I'm saying I wish I could have seen more from her that was more like another...
More prevalent?
Just another interesting, weird indie film.
Have you seen The Notorious Betty Page?
No.
You should.
Okay, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I remember it being a really good movie.
But before we go on to who wrote American Psycho, in my best Patrick Bateman kind of way, we're going to have some vodka. This is the premier vodka, Texas vodka as it is called, sold exclusively at Trader Joe's.
Please just don't take an axe to my head while Huey Lewis plays. Meanwhile, producer Robin chooses the the best moments.
To go,
I don't know, just, diving behind the TV for adventure.
he lacks excitement in his life. So
I mean, to be fair, he did sleep all day. So it's our fault for daring to do this while he is awake.
So yes, this movie, the writer of the book for this movie was Bret Easton Ellis, and he also did Rules of Attraction, the book, and probably had a hand somehow in screenwriting that one too. So this is a quote from Bret Easton Ellis about for the development of him writing the book. Mm-hmm. So he says, "Bateman was crazy the same way I was. He did not come out of me sitting down and wanting to write a grand sweeping indictment of yuppie culture, and initiated because of my own isolation and alienation at a point in my life I was living like Patrick Bateman. I was slipping into a consumerist kind of void that was supposed to give me confidence and make me feel good about myself, but just made me feel worse and worse and worse about myself. That is where the tension of American Psycho came from. It wasn't that I was going to make up this serial killer on Wall Street, high concept, fantastic. It came from a much more personal place. And that's something that I've only been admitting in the last year or so. I was so on the defense because of the reaction to that book that I wasn't able to talk about it on that level." He's essentially saying that he came into some money. The idea of Bateman came to him because he didn't like the way he was feeling himself superior over those less fortunate.
All I can think... Okay, so God damn it. Only a fucking rich yuppie white man would feel this way. Like, only he would be just like, oh, it was just like, I had so much money, and I just felt like I was just a consumer, and there was nothing worth it. And fuck you. Fuck you. Go get a goddamn job. Go work from, fucking 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. every single day at some backbreaking menial work, or be a server, or be a bartender, or go, scrounge and do whatever you can to survive, and you're not gonna feel that way. He's got too much money and time, and woe is me. I want to kill people, but I can't. Me. Fuck, I hated this movie.
I don't think he wanted to kill people.
We've all had that fantasy. But still, no, look at me. I have too much money. What do I do with it? I don't know. Fuck you. Go to a fucking children's hospital. That's what you can do with your money instead of buying yourself the world's greatest vibrators to shove up your own ass. Fuck, I hated this movie. Fuck.
Oh, my God.
What a piece of shit. Just Jesus Christ. Simon & Schuster gives him $300,000 advance for American Psycho. Get fucked. Graduated from Berkeley in Sherman Oaks, California. Get fuck you.
Well, I think, this movie is very much showing how rich people can get away with anything. And because this movie is... He
got published for the first time when he was a student at Bennington College. Bennington, Vermont. Actually, weirdly, I've stayed at that college at a writing camp that I went to one year, but still... Fucking rich people. That's where rich people go. Yeah, I have too much money and I'm... Sorry, I'm so goddamn angry that I had to watch this movie.
Really?
I've been avoiding it for so long because I thought it was scary or gory. It sucks. It sucks. This movie was fucking boring. Even at an hour 40, which I was like, oh, cool, an hour 40. That's not too long. It felt like forever. I fucking hated this film. There are moments and little things that I liked about it. But fucking goddamn, this movie, what do you guys see in it? What?
This might be another case of
what, not being a dude and thus not understanding dude things, or just not?
No, I was going to say another. I was about to say like a mistake and reason to like it, like Fight Club.
Oh yeah, no, you absolutely know that there's some guys out there that like worship Patrick Bateman and like view him as the alpha male. But I hope each and every one of those guys dies.
I don't think that's why the general fans like it.
Like why? It was so bad.
I think because of
what, Christian Bale? Yeah, he did a great fucking job.
No, definitely Christian Bale definitely has a way about it. I think the direction is really good. I really like the cinematography. I like the way the shots were set up.
It's gritty and it's dirty and it feels like an old movie. It feels like a movie out of the 80s, I mean, despite the fact that it came out in 2000.
No, and it didn't look like it was from 2000. Like they did a good job of not like shoving the 80s, 90s,
so it's
whatever.
A well-made movie.
I think it was the 90s.
Like, yeah, it is, technically well-made. The acting's really good in some places, decent in others, downright bad in a lot of it. Right?
I think the acting's bad in a lot of it.
God, all of those douchey fucking like.
So what's the difference between these douchey guys on Wall Street and Martin Scorsese's douchey guys on Wall Street?
I didn't like them either.
Yeah, but you.
I didn't like them.
But you didn't hate The Wolf of Wall Street as a movie, even though it was 3 hours long.
So I'd rather watch it than watch this movie.
Really?
I will watch The Wolf of Wall Street again. I will never again watch American Psycho. Like, I was telling my therapist today that I would never watch Lady Bird again because that movie fucking broke me. But that's on, like, a personal level of things that I relate to and, moments that are reminiscent of my own childhood, right? I am connected to Lady Bird in several ways, and thus that movie is a beautiful testament to my own personal childhood, but that girl, inner child, needs a goddamn break, so I'm not going to make her watch that movie ever again. Because she doesn't need to be slapped in the face.
It's kind of like the way The Whale was for me.
Oh, fuck, I love The Whale. Wait, no, not The Whale. I was thinking of The Whale Rider.
Oh.
No. I was about to like passionately defend Whale Rider to you.
I am 99% sure you have never seen.
No, and I'm not
Fraser's
going to.
No,
because
you shouldn't.
I don't like watching sad. I'm not a sad movie girl.
I'm glad that movie is not on this list because I don't really want to watch it again. But I think it was a beautiful movie.
So, hi, Robin. So right, this movie. What are we talking about? American Psycho? Fuck that. I'm not watching it again, right? And yeah, the guys are worse because, I don't know, maybe it was just the bright lights and the pretty colors and the way that Scorsese filmed Wolf of Wall Street, where it is like it's a Technicolor explosion. It is entertaining. There is at least a fucking plot, right? But this movie is just down, dour, dark colors, asshole people. Fucking fish meatloaf? Fish
I
meatloaf.
forgot that you had a reaction to that.
And what was it? It was fucking fish meatloaf. Who makes fish meatloaf? God! This movie has some good things going for it, but I hated everyone in it. And I hated it, and I don't get it. I don't get why it's popular. Like, what am I missing?
I can tell you why I like it.
All right. Well, do you want to finish up with the fucking who's in it? Because we haven't even gotten to that part. This is like middle of the podcast shit, and we've done this for 5 minutes. Sorry, guys. It's
the music was from John Cale, a composer who's done a lot of work in his career, but nothing that I've noticed that I'm like, ooh, that. He seems to be like a really, the way IMDb listed his projects was not like a lot of normal TV or film, so I don't think it's a lot of that. It might be videos and some other projects, like a lot of them don't even have pictures. Mm-hmm. So no, and I'm just saying, I
honestly don't know if I could even like.
There was a.
The music wasn't memorable. It was
a lot of times the music was
drops.
copying. There were a lot of needle drops. Yeah. A lot of times the music was copying music from other horror films. Since this is kind of pictured as a horror film,
Yeah.
it's also a dark comedy. But yeah, I think a lot like... But the main, like, there was no score that ever captured my attention.
There's no theme.
No, it's a lot of needle drops, and the needle drops were some choices.
Yeah, like, obviously the Huey Lewis stuff makes sense, but like Walking on Sunshine?
Yeah, his playlist, his CDs that he played whenever he's at home or listening on his headphones makes sense. But there are some transitional scenes that we're going to go from this scene to this scene in the transition. It's a needle drop, but the song is like so wildly opposite of what the tension.
Like when he was in the taxi for the first time with his fiance, I felt that the song playing over that was kind of a weird one. In fact, I think that was Walking on Sunshine.
Yeah, yeah. There was that. Whatever the very first song that we go into right after the talk around the table during the opening credits, the song that immediately it cuts into. I don't remember what it was, but it really jarred me in a way that I'm just like, that doesn't fit what I was just feeling. It was a really upbeat and catchy. But yeah, soundtracks were mostly used during this movie. The cinematography is from Andrzej Sekula. He is actually the cinematographer for Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Hackers, which I thought was...
You do love that movie.
I do. It's a fun, dumb movie. He also did the cinematography for Tarantino's part in 4 Rooms, so was definitely a presence in those early Tarantino projects, and just ended up being the cinematographer for American Psycho. American Psycho is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, but only with a 68% from critics. So you definitely probably had some critics that are kind of on the same page with you.
Yeah. Good.
But an 85% from audiences. So this is definitely an audience-loved.
Yeah, it's
film,
a cult movie.
Which it is a cult movie, and it's why I think it's why it's on the Letterboxd list is because of the popularity.
This list has a lot of cult classics on it.
It does, for
Although,
sure.
like dude cult classics, not like queer cult classics. Like
no.
The Birdcage isn't on this, or fucking,
There's not a lot of
Pink
comedies
Flamingos.
on this, though.
Yeah.
It's a lot of,
it's a lot of hoity-toity cult classics.
Either drama or some action.
Yeah.
Actually, quite a bit of action, but...
It is,
yeah. Like, you can understand... It's probably, it's going to be on a lot of people's top 20, which is why I think these movies are on this list, is because it was just a bunch of top 20 people on Letterboxd.
Okay.
And then it just kind of gets filtered through.
Is this a movie that people watch every year, or do they watch it once and be like, oh my God, that was amazing?
It sits on their shelf.
And never go back to it.
It sits on your shelf so that when their bro friend comes in and is like, oh, dude, you got American Psycho?
But, when was the last time they watched it? Do they watch it with the regularity that you and I watch, a fucking Marvel movie or, Tron Legacy? Or, is it something that you watch, once in a great goddamn blue moon, like The Northman? Have you even watched The Northman since getting it?
I've watched it once since getting it.
And when's the next time you plan on watching it?
Before Nosferatu comes out.
Oh, yeah, well, that's...
Because I'm watching...
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to watch all his movies before I see it.
Well, I'm just staring at one of our many DVD shelves and just, desperately searching for something that we don't watch.
And no, I do not own American Psycho on...
would you put The Lighthouse in one of
Blu-ray.
your top 20?
My top 20?
Yeah.
The Lighthouse?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, well... I'm just saying, is this movie a movie that people actively watch every Halloween? They put it on, or it's sure, for somebody it's their comfort movie, or whatever. Or is this a movie that's just you saw it once 1,000 years ago, and you still admire it?
I think this is probably the third or fourth time I've seen it. I will say, I don't know if you knew this, but there was an American Psycho 2.
Yeah, no, I read about that on IMDb.
With Mila Kunis and
What even happens in American Psycho 2?
William Shatner.
The Shat's in it?
The Shat's in it.
That might actually be worth watching.
But it got it's called American Psycho 2, All American Girl. So, yeah, they gender swapped the person who's
Jesus.
feeling murderous.
Oh, man, that fucking movie poster.
American Psycho 2 got a 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb.
Whoo!
So,
youch.
At least you didn't have to watch that one.
In 1993, a 12-year-old girl accompanies her babysitter on a date with serial killer Patrick Bateman. After Bateman kills and starts to dissect the babysitter, the girl kills him with an ice pick.
That's this movie?
That's American Psycho 2. Yeah, that's the first 2 sentences of the IMDb plot.
I kind of want to watch it now. American Psycho was made for only $8 million. Mm-hmm. And it made $15 million domestic, but $34 million total worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, good for it. I was reading on the trivia section that Leonardo DiCaprio had wanted to play Patrick Bateman, and there had been a lot of back and forth with him to play it, but he wanted $21 million to star in it.
Jesus, and their budget, or at least this budget, ended up only being $8 million.
Yeah.
So let's get essentially a no-name. I mean,
Christian Bale wasn't per se, but yeah.
Not a lot of people knew who he was.
Yeah,
I mean,
it wasn't like if Leonardo DiCaprio had starred in this movie, this would be a different movie.
Right.
This wouldn't be the same movie. There was no studio at that time. Even if he had wanted to do it, even if he had taken a pay cut, he would have dropped out for fear of destroying his image with teenage girls. He would have been talked out of doing it. The fucking studios would have gotten their hands on it because they would have wanted to have made that money back, right? And so then it becomes a different movie. I'm not sure that would have been a better version. Although maybe I would have liked it more. I don't know. No. I would not have fucked this movie.
I do want to say, I mean, we all love Christian Bale from the Dark Knight trilogy, but anybody out there who hasn't seen either of these movies, The Newsies or Swing Kids?
Those are 2 movies that a friend of mine loved growing up.
Yeah.
Especially once Caveman and I got really big into swing dancing in our early 20s. People talked about Swing Kids all the time.
Absolutely.
I've seen both of those movies once. I remember at best being indifferent about both of them.
Newsies is good, and yeah, I could see why. I mean, it's a popular stage production. It's been going on forever. The movie I think is fine. It's nothing. It's not, it's fine. Swing Kids, though, I would like to watch Swing Kids again. I remember really enjoying it. I really loved the dancing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably what got me into swing dancing.
Yeah.
One of the things was watching Swing Kids.
Yeah.
Not only that, but it's what my friends were into at the time. So, of course, I want to be with my friends. And if they're all swing dancing, then...
Well, yeah. I mean...
It's, of course...
You were brought into it.
I was brought into it, but I had already...
Then we met.
Yeah.
And you got me out of the deal.
I did get a wife out of swing dancing, which I guess is also the kind of the alternative idea behind going dancing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, you want to meet a babe.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I did.
Aw. Who was she?
Oh, just this one chick that I don't like talking about.
Oh, okay.
American Psycho also got some awards. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I thought the main award that it got was from the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards, popular for horror films or psychological thrillers and everything that falls underneath those categories. But American Psycho did win Best Wide Release Film, and then Christian Bale won Best Actor. Mary Herron and Guinevere Turner, I didn't really talk about.
She wrote the screenplay.
Yeah, she between her and the director worked on the screenplay together. Guinevere Turner also worked on 3 episodes of The L Word. It was also nominated for the score, which I can see why it was nominated. It didn't win. I don't know what else won. But, yeah, that's a little bit background on this wild film. The actors, I thought
it's a solid cast.
It's a solid cast, and I thought I enjoyed all of them. Other than Christian Bale, you got Justin Theroux, who I thought was played creepy, skeevy.
Isn't that just his best character? Is creepy, skeevy, like douchebag?
For a lot of the stuff he does, yes.
Yeah, I know you liked The Leftovers.
The Leftovers was a fantastic series. That was one of those shows because it was made from the same guys who did Lost, and I was scared that it was going to disappoint me at the end or confuse me too much.
I don't know a lot of people that finished it.
That's too bad. I thought it personally. I liked the way it ended. It gave me a good answer to all the questions. Josh Lucas, what?
Sorry, I'm continuing to read the American Psycho 2.
Are you just reading the plot to Psycho 2?
I am paying attention, but the American Psycho plot line.
Is this a movie we're going to have to watch?
Maybe it is so bad. And not bad as in, like, I hate it. Like, just fucking bad.
Yeah.
Sorry. Josh Lucas. Always happy to see him and
Josh
stuff.
Lucas.
He's a cute Southern boy.
I know. I think there was a time when they were trying to push him as like a leading man, or, you know, that I'm going to go to a theater to watch a Josh Lucas film. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's the case anymore.
They pushed him for a while. Like, they tried.
They tried, and he was in some good stuff.
I mean, him and Reese Witherspoon in Sweet Home Alabama.
Sweet Home Alabama.
Fuck, do I love that movie.
No,
that's like an all-time classic rom-com. That's
absolutely.
top 20 rom-coms.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And he worked perfectly for that movie. There's a movie Stealth about a
stealth bomber pilot
a
or
stealth
something?
bomber,
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Or no, sorry, not Stealth. That's Broken Arrow.
Oh, fucking Broken Arrow's a great movie. Arrow's good.
Stealth is a really dumb movie where they these 3 pilots who it was Jamie Foxx.
Yes.
Jessica Biel.
This movie came up recently too. Did Schmidt talk about it on New Girl or something? I feel like very recently somebody brought up Jamie Foxx and Stealth.
Yeah, and the entire score is done by Incubus.
Oh, God. Wow.
Yeah, it's about an AI jet making its own decisions, and they have to go stop it. But I completely forgot that Reese Witherspoon was in this movie.
Yeah, that was a pleasant surprise. She was so young.
She was.
Just so cute and so young.
Was that?
You know what?
I know she'd been in things before this movie.
No, yeah, she definitely had. This is not her biggest thing. I mean,
no, it's
Fear with Wahlberg was pretty big.
Fear?
Yes.
I don't think I ever saw Fear.
Oh, it's a fucked up movie. It's about this, like, older dude that falls in love with, like, this, like, you know, older but not legal teenager, and it's a whole fucking thing. I remember seeing that movie or seeing parts of it as a young teenager and just being like, yeah.
Oh, Reese Witherspoon was in Cruel Intentions.
Yes, that's the one. That's the other one.
Yeah.
That was big for her. She was in Pleasantville before this. That was in 99? Or is that 2001?
I don't see... Oh, yeah, Pleasantville was 98.
98, yeah.
So, yeah, okay. So, yeah, Pleasant... That makes sense.
But this is...
Pleasantville and the Cruel Intentions.
Off the top of my head, this is the first time I remember seeing her play, like, woman.
She also was in Election.
Yeah, but again, all these roles are, like, teenage roles, whereas this is, like... You know, a grown-up.
Yeah,
she might have been,
grown-up role.
You know, in her mid to young 20s.
The next big thing she did after American Psycho was Legally Blonde, which I think really put her on the map of, this is Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah,
obviously.
That really... I mean,
Launched
fucking Legally Blonde is such a
Legally
great
Blonde
goddamn movie.
Absolutely. Again, I know we say this every time we do these podcasts.
We should watch it.
I would love to watch Legally Blonde again.
Not too long ago,
really?
But I'm always down to watch it.
Man, I mean...
Like, that's one of those movies that, like, you have 90 minutes to kill on a Saturday morning and you're alone and doing nothing and you're like, well, time for Legally Blonde. Yeah, or you're sad over a breakup or whatever. Like, it's a continuous comfort movie.
It is.
And I'm not even its biggest fan. Like, I can't quote it the way that some of my friends can, but I just enjoy the hell out of it.
Then you got Jared Leto as Paul Allen.
Which, honestly,
this is my second favorite movie with him.
Yeah.
Because my
he
first
gets fucking
favorite
murdered.
My first favorite with him is Fight Club, where he gets his shit beat out of him.
Yeah, but in this one he gets straight up
Yeah,
murdered.
straight up murder with an axe.
So
yeah, that's why it's my second favorite.
That alone might be one of the reasons that this movie gets a slightly higher score than what I would actually give it. It's purely for the fact that Jared Leto gets murdered with a pickaxe. I haven't seen all these memes. My favorite one being, as of late, because after D3, was announced, the meme was Disney brought back 9 Inch Nails to do the score for Tron Ares as an apology for Jared Leto being in it.
Oh, man. Jeez. Yes.
I'm so excited for that movie, except I hate Jared Leto.
The whole time, I'll admit, the whole time that Tron Ares was announced and that Jared Leto was going to be in it and nobody else was announced for it. Once word got out that Jeff Bridges was going to be in it, I got more excited, but I wasn't sold on just a Jeff Bridges performance. I wanted something else. And I think
Gillian Anderson's in it.
I think 9 Inch Nails is doing it for me.
Yeah.
Kind of how one of my favorite things of Tron Legacy is
The
Daft
soundtrack,
Punk.
yeah.
So,
It's fucking perfect.
So if anything,
yeah, at least the music will be good.
I'm looking forward to a good soundtrack.
If D-Box still exists when that movie comes out, we have to go see it in the D-Box.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's only
make
fair.
up for
to make up. I mean, nothing will ever make up for that sadness in my heart, but
we'll find a D-Box that's showing Tron Ares.
Great.
We also got Willem Dafoe, who I had no idea was in this movie until the credits came on, and I saw Willem Dafoe.
God, you know me and Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe, one of the biggest connective tissues now of this whole podcast
has been Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe is in so many of these movies.
Yes, which is great.
Or is somehow connected in another one way or another to one of these, like a lot of these movies, not just acting in them, but being just part of other projects that are related to it.
It should be the 6 Degrees of Willem Dafoe.
It really should, yeah.
And his gigantic weird penis.
So those are at least the cast that I was familiar with. I know Guinevere Turner plays Elizabeth.
The actress who plays Christy, the prostitute.
Cara Seymour?
Yeah. She's been a kind of a character actress in a lot of things. I most notably know her from You've Got Mail. But yeah, she's one of those women, she's one of those female character actresses that you're like, oh, cool. You.
I don't know what some of the acting that you think was not the best. I don't know
I guess it wasn't that the acting was bad so much as I just hated the characters. Like
the male characters or all the characters?
Mainly the male characters. I mean, the only true and good character in this movie is Jean, played by Chloe Sevigny, who you did not bring up, actually. Jean, the secretary, was really the only...
Yeah, sorry. I did go over her. She was in...
Brown Bunny.
I was thinking...
I'll never forget that.
No, she was in Big Love with
Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton, which I only watched the first season of that show, but I did enjoy her, especially her. That's
really,
she's a good actress.
That was a show where the premise just kept getting squirrelier and squirrelier.
Yeah,
like that's a 1-2 season show.
Kind of like Weeds. Weeds was the same way.
Yeah.
Like the first 2 seasons are solid, and then they're just
they're like we got to keep going. What else do we do?
Write a suburban mom selling pot?
Weed. Yeah,
this can only go so far until we really start going out there. And
boy,
did they go out there.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like she was really the only character that I felt bad for because she was the only one that had any sort of empathy or seemed to care at all about, Patrick, about life in general. Okay. One of the few things that I liked about this movie was every time he admitted out loud to somebody about his murderous thoughts or the fact that he'd actually done something or the fact that he felt that he was sick and needed help.
Yeah.
Nobody paid attention.
Correct.
Like, everybody just, nobody's listening to each other. They're all just talking to talk. And, those little moments of vulnerability were brilliantly played by Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Christian Bale is probably the other reason this movie is going to get
absolutely.
a slightly higher score than,
I think
would
think
rather give
he's
it.
the reason why this movie's so popular with
Because
fans.
he's so charismatic.
He is.
He's
And-
so hot.
and
He's so
his
in the role.
his Bruce Wayne
I was-
is very similar to this.
It's hard seeing this movie after knowing him as Bruce Wayne for so long.
Because he really plays Bruce Wayne
They even dress
very
him the
very close to this, especially in Batman Begins.
Yeah.
He plays it very similar to this, except
And I feel
he
like
doesn't go as psychotic.
No.
Yes, it's a man who dresses up as a bat.
But he doesn't kill people.
He doesn't kill people. Batman doesn't kill people.
I thought that's funny because he's dressed the same way. His Bruce Wayne is very
the slick black
early
hair.
2000s yuppie.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was done on purpose or he just knows how to play rich one way.
I don't know. He's a more complex actor than that.
and he don't get me wrong, Christian Bale is great because there's some other movies that aren't on this list that I think he has done even better with. But this is, I think, a memorable one because his acting is really good. Just that psychotic, especially when he starts losing it at the end. I mean, my theory is that he was losing it the entire time.
Do you think he actually murders any of those people?
I don't think he murdered anybody.
Not even like the homeless dude?
I think he probably did kill the homeless guy,
Yeah.
but I don't think he knows what was real and what wasn't.
Yeah. So some of the...
There's two ways that this movie has been talked about. Either he didn't do any of the murders except for like maybe a homeless guy or two. I think he admits like 6 or 8.
he says,
10.
I've got some homeless people, 5 or 10.
Yeah.
Which...
Yeah. No. So it's either all this was in his head the whole time, and this is just his fantasy that he's imagining. We're seeing his fantasy played out, which is why the lawyer admits to seeing Paul Allen in London for he was with him for 2 days.
Yeah, but the lawyer doesn't even know who Patrick Bateman is.
No, he doesn't. But
And then everybody
I
talks
think
about how Patrick Bateman is such a dweeb
Yeah.
and a nerd.
the lawyer straight up repeated a rumor
Yeah.
or a talking behind people's back to somebody who he didn't know he was talking to the guy
Yeah.
that everybody talks about. The fact that
But he's his lawyer, but he doesn't care.
he doesn't care.
No.
And, how often do you need a lawyer
Yeah.
until you get in trouble? And he got in trouble, or he thought he was in trouble and wanted his lawyer to know.
Yeah.
There's that. So there's a theory that it was all in his head and he didn't kill anybody, or maybe he did kill a couple, but I don't think he ever killed. I don't think he killed Paul Allen, and I don't think he killed those or beheaded those women.
Yeah, but then when he goes to Paul Allen's apartment, right? And he's desperately looking around, like everything's clean and white and has clearly just been painted over.
Yeah.
And then the realtor is like being really weird about like, why are you here? And I think you should leave.
Right.
Like, is that because but why would you discover all those bodies in that apartment and clean it up and not report it to the police?
Right. Which is why I think.
And so maybe she was acting weird because he was
I think
acting
Paul
weird.
Allen left that apartment, and they're just trying to rent it out to somebody else. The other theory.
But then was the detective real?
I think they were looking for Paul Allen for a bit, and then discovered that he's okay.
Okay, but Patrick Bateman goes over to Paul Allen's apartment, leaves a message leaves the outgoing message saying, I'll be in London for a few days.
Yeah.
And then that's where they found him. How did he know he was going to London?
I don't know how he knew.
I like some of it felt real, some of it.
The other theory
Yeah.
for this movie, and I think it's a little more explained in the book from what I read. But the other theory is that he did commit all these murders, or a large portion of them, and nobody cares. It's showing how rich people can get away with anything.
Yeah,
How
sort of the depravity.
I think Patrick Bateman's whole thing was he got off on the superiority over people.
Yeah.
The fact that he had money and had the means to do what he did and live where he lives and be part of this group of guys
Yeah.
who go out and they drink the finest Chardonnay and they eat the finest food and they go
Fish meatloaf.
They go from lounge to lounge or bar to bar or fancy restaurant to fancy restaurant. And that's all they care about in life. And they don't care about the people who are just scraping by.
Yeah. No, of course they don't, because why would they?
Why would they care if people lesser than them are being killed off? And why would they care that Patrick Bateman's doing it? And, you know, you see...
The police would care.
The police would care. And so part of the... One idea for the movie, at least, that everything was in his head, was towards the end, everything becomes more chaotic in ridiculous ways, like an ATM machine telling him to feed it the cat.
Yeah.
Him having a shootout with cops.
And like exploding the car.
2 cars and killing all the cops. And even he's surprised by how powerful the gun is. And then he just shoots people randomly. Like, you know.
Did you notice too that when he goes into the building, the security guard says hello to him and he shoots the security guard and then he shoots the janitor at the elevators. He leaves the building, goes into another building, and it's the exact same lobby.
It's the same exact lobby.
Yeah.
And that one, I think, was for his work, I think.
Well, yeah, but does that mean
he calls his lawyer when he's at his in his
but
office.
that also doesn't mean that he necessarily killed the security guard and the janitor.
Yeah,
I think that he imagined
it all, and it just ends up back in the same place he was, which is why when he gets to his actual job, he smiles at the guard, signs his name, and walks in. And I think that's what you're seeing is what's actually happening, not him shooting a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is a perfect film. I too like The Wolf of Wall Street better. You know, it was adapting a book, and you know, I haven't read American Psycho, but from what I hear, it's a lot bloodier.
Yeah, I've heard it's very twisted.
Yeah, I think the version, because I probably will never read it, but I think the version that I get to watch is, for me, entertaining. I liked watching him feel at the beginning with his, like when they're showing business cards off.
The business card scene's a lot of fun.
I really like that. It's really showing you this guy who's trying to be, he wants his status.
Yeah.
To really, he wants them to know.
He wants to be important.
He does want to be
important.
Like
when he's with the hookers, he's so desperately like, ask me what I do. You know, he wants to feel like he matters.
I want to tell you what school I went to. I want to tell you how much I make a year. I want to be able to just throw money at you for me to beat you.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he definitely gets off at showing off how amazing he is because of the school he went to and because how much money he makes. And yeah, it does run slow. But I personally, I wasn't bored.
No, I wasn't. Well, no, I was very bored, but I was mainly bored because I was angry. Like,
I really enjoy a lot of these shots, a lot of the shots that show almost kind of his point of view, where his head is in the foreground. Yeah. And whatever he's watching or whatever's happening in the background. I thought those shots were fun.
I like that every time he felt like he was in an awkward situation, he said, I have to go return some videotapes.
Yeah, every time it happens, because it keeps happening more and more, and by the time you get to like the fourth one where he's like, I need to return some videotapes, it's like, oh man, I remember videotapes. Well, we haven't really talked about like the beginning of the movie, really.
The food?
The food was fun. You know, this movie was in 2000, so it's 24 years old as of the time of this recording. The kind of classic-looking Lionsgate intro.
Yes, that was... both you and I were like, damn.
I'm so used to like their new logo.
Yeah.
Because it's been going on for so long. But yeah, seeing that old-school Lionsgate opening was brought back some memories. The opening credits I thought were fun, too, just with the white background, and then you just see blood drops, but then you assume they're blood drops, but it's, you know, some fine cuisine being made and decorated on plates at a fancy restaurant.
A very fancy restaurant. It was fun. I mean, like, the ketchup as blood drops, or I guess it was probably like a raspberry puree, was clever, right? Like, it's clever.
He really likes showing off, like, his apartment, his furniture, his, everything's got to remain perfect, of course, because it's
all about the aesthetics, all about the look.
The look. Don't just put your glass on the table. You got to have a coaster.
Yeah.
What city is this supposed to be?
New York.
Is it New York? Okay.
Oh. I mean, it shows the World Trade Center.
Yeah, no, you're right.
At the beginning.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Completely forgot. I was going to say, as such a rich guy, that he didn't have a car, but being a New Yorker, why would he? Mm-hmm. Plus, he's got a limo, which they never show us who the limousine driver is.
No, you gotta imagine that guy's probably
thinks about picking up hookers.
That guy's a real confidant. Like,
I think he, from his perspective, he's just picking up. I mean, he's picking up hookers.
Yeah, he doesn't know what's going to happen when they get back.
And he probably doesn't drive them back.
Home,
right.
No.
He probably goes home after he drops everybody off. Because I do believe some of this stuff did happen, especially him being with those two women.
Yeah.
He probably did beat them or whatever he was doing with that coat hanger.
Yeah, that was just uncomfortable, man.
Another reason I think this was happening in his head were other things like, because people don't see or hear the same things that we're seeing and hearing.
Yeah.
Like you said, I remember when we were watching the movie, you commented about when he's dragging Paul Allen's body out and leaving this long blood trail on the floor. I do like how that could, on the opposite side, when you're looking at it a different way, nobody cares what's in the bag.
Yeah.
Like his friend sees him put it in the trunk and all he cares about is who made the
who made the bag.
Who made the bag.
Right. But like there's this whole long trail of blood leading to him.
Yeah.
And then he just throws it in the back of a taxi. Like, geez.
Being in Paul Allen's apartment with
the hookers.
Yeah. And killing the one with the chainsaw while she's screaming.
Yeah, like screaming down the hallway.
Doors and...
Yeah.
Which is another reason why it's either all in his head or...
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Like, how rich are you going to be when somebody... You want to ignore or look down on the world, but if somebody's at your door screaming, pounding on the door with a chainsaw running... except nobody cared in Chainsaw Massacre that these people were being...
Yeah, but wasn't that taking place out in the middle of, like, fucking
nowhere? It was
nowhere?
out in the middle of Texas nowhere.
Yeah.
There's a moment where he is watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original.
I will say that I did enjoy all the women in this movie. Samantha Morton did a great job as that sort of just perpetually drugged out yuppie woman.
Samantha Mathis?
Excuse me. Yes, Samantha Mathis. I always kind of mistake them because of the Samantha M. But she does a good job. I do appreciate that what little compassion he showed to Jean. I kind of wonder if deep down he expected that Jean was kind of the only person who cared about him. Although he's so mean to her. He's so mean.
He is. Like,
telling her how to dress, making fun of her, like, just kind of being condescending. But he's still, at the very least, like, he has some compassion for her, which I'm grateful for. Because it shows that he's not a complete fucking monster. I did write down at one point, when and where can I get French fries? And I'm still wondering that very question.
You might find out in a few minutes. It's getting
close to dinner time. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, some movies aren't my cup of tea, and some movies I viscerally hate. I don't think I hate it as much as Whiplash, although it's pretty well up there. I don't know. Like, what am I missing? Like, is it because I saw it is it because too many people that I know have talked about American Psycho and how great it is and how terrifying it is and how creepy and weird and wild and out there it is? Is it a case of people hyping it up too much and me just sitting there going, really? This? Or is it just that, like, this is not a Maggie movie?
It's definitely not a Maggie movie.
It's definitely not a Maggie movie. I don't understand.
At the
very least, I could agree that the Joker was better than I wanted it to be, even though it makes me so angry. But at the very least, I can admit that, right? I don't find much redeeming quality in this movie. Yes, it is technically well made, but I don't know, man. I just really fucking hate this movie.
It's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, we could get into reviews unless there was anything else you want to talk about. I will say, though, that the biggest villain in this movie is Ronald Reagan. Fuck Ronald Reagan. Said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. Fuck Reagan. So, Caveman, what do you rate this one?
I am giving American Psycho 3.5 stars.
God, that's generous. Why? Why?
Because I do like it.
Okay. What? Why?
I mean, why does anybody like any kind of horror film
art
or
is subjective.
black comedy as it is? But
this isn't.
There are some comedic moments in it.
But this isn't a black comedy. I mean, we're watching The Menu next week. That's a black fucking comedy. God, I love that film. That's a great black comedy. Is it just that, like, this movie came out in a time that I was too young to understand then, and since I've grown in the world and in my own womanhood and in my own values, and I look at it now and just still go, nah, I just don't fucking get it. Like, I sometimes I feel like I'm missing out on things. Sometimes I feel like people are, like, screaming into, into their phone, just being like, you don't understand, it's so fucking good, yeah. You like it? 3.5 stars is 3.5. So generous.
I don't think so. I think there's plenty of people who give it 4 or higher.
I hope everybody heard my eye roll.
Like I said at the beginning, I really like the way the movie was made. Mm-hmm. I think it looks really neat for a 2000 film with this subject matter. I like the way he just starts breaking down and falling apart. I think it's entertaining to watch, and I think it is also really interesting to watch it, trying to figure out as it goes along. Is this in his head? Is it the rich just don't give a fuck about other people? So yeah, that's why I gave it 3.5 stars.
I'm giving it a 2.
All right.
Like, I'm giving, and that is based purely on 2 things: how great Christian Bale was in it, and the fact that Jared Leto fucking got murdered to the face with an axe. Sure. Otherwise, this movie would probably get a 1.
I think that's another reason I like this movie is because of Christian Bale.
Yeah. And Jared Leto getting face murdered with an axe.
I love any movie that shows him
bloodied. Yeah. But, feel free to write us at movieminglepod@gmail.com to rail against the fact that I don't like this movie. I just, fuck this movie. I will say, however, and I know we're kind of getting back onto a little tangent after we do the reviews, but
it's all right.
I do think that I would thoroughly enjoy American Psycho 2.
We might have to look that one up.
It looks so bad. Not even awful awesome, just straight up awful. For what it's worth, do you want to know anything about the plot, or do you want to see if it's available on anything and then watch it? Because this is bad. Like, first of all, it wasn't even supposed to be an American Psycho sequel. It was written, and then they decided to, like, shoehorn in the American Psycho side of things. So that's your first just...
It's on Plex.
What the fuck is Plex?
Does not require a subscription.
I mean, 3 out of 10. Entertainment Weekly's Scott Brown criticized the film writing unscary and unfunny. It still manages to inspire homicidal fantasies, mostly involving the slow dismemberment of the once promising indie director Morgan J. Freeman. Oh my god, people really fucking hate this movie. Also, like, the role that Shatner plays.
Yeah.
Oh my god. As a college professor and FBI agent, he teaches in the Behavioral and Social Sciences Department. Shatner?
Oh boy. And it came out like 2 years. Like it wasn't like it was something that they came up with a decade later or something. This was 2 years after the original.
Mila Kunis has straight up apologized for this movie.
Oh wow.
And been like, I shouldn't have done that. Wow. Yeah. Like it looks, I mean, the plot is a wild ride of what and what?
We could try 10 minutes and then...
Or I could just read you the plot line later and we could get a big laugh out of it. But, I mean, happen. You know what? Maybe because it gave us American Psycho 2, I'll bump my rating up to a 2.5.
All right, you heard it. 2.5 from Maggie.
Whee!
So, Maggie,
Yes, Caveman?
I got 2 questions for you.
Hit it.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
So, do you think the presence of Oscar Isaac in American Psycho would have made it better?
Absolutely. Yeah, it would have, for sure.
Same content and everything. It would
Yes,
have, your
'cause at
score
least
would
he
have gone up.
At least he would have been there. His most perfect, beautiful face. He would have been there.
So, second question.
Yeah.
Which character would you have had Oscar Isaac play?
I don't know. See, because how do you put the world's most beautiful human being who happens to be a proud Guatemalan man into a movie about white assholes, right? Like, he would make a great Patrick Bateman because I think that his insanity would be brilliant. But then it doesn't work, right? Because, you know, they're going to go after the not white guy. And although he can play Italian, it's still a bit of a stretch, right? So, I don't know, maybe one of the yuppie douchebags, right?
Yeah, I was thinking like either Josh Lucas or Justin Theroux.
Yeah.
He would have been really interesting as Matt Ross's Lewis character, the gay guy.
Yes, he would have. I mean, he is, you know, he has played the most perfect gay man ever as Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron, you're alive? Buddy, so are you. You completed my mission, Finn. That's my jacket. Keep it. It suits you.
Yeah, like that would have been a good role for him too, because he's like there, but he's always on the outside. Yeah, I would love to see, like Oscar Isaac plays madness so well. I mean, you know, Moon Knight, Ex Machina, like the way that man can portray insanity is just so fucking brilliant, and he's so pretty. And you know, if he did play Patrick Bateman, I would get to see him running around naked a lot with a 6-pack, and I would definitely enjoy that. But, you know, it might have moved my score up to a 3. Like, and again, well, no, it still would have been a 2 and, yeah, it would have been somewhere between a 2.5 and the 3, based purely on the merit of how fucking insane American Psycho 2 is. In which, if he was an American Psycho 2, I would want him to play Eric Daniels, the school psychiatrist. You'll understand that when you see it.
Interesting.
But Shatner's still got to be in it.
You know, whenever you talk about the madness that Oscar Isaac can play, and we always compare it. I mean, it's easy to compare him to with
Moon Knight
yeah. And
Ex Machina.
But
yeah.
I think another one that we forget about sometimes was, yes, it's not. There's 2 roles that he played.
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch is one.
Yeah, not a great movie, but kind of.
I love Sucker
Yeah.
Punch. You know why I love Sucker Punch?
Why?
Because it's one of Zack Snyder's last good movies.
That is a solidly... I mean, and a lot of people would disagree with you on that, because I don't think... It wasn't necessarily well received.
It wasn't well received by critics, but there are...
They were fans of it. I mean, I remember thoroughly enjoying... I like
the way it's shot.
Yeah.
And I like the soundtrack.
I mean, I've got...
The story's dumb. I will admit the story's dumb.
Yeah, but the Oscar Isaac song, his cover of Love is a Drug, I listen to that easily 3 times a week on, you know, it's on like most of my playlists, so it pops up on the shuffle. Like, yeah, Sucker Punch is a great movie, and he's a really good bad guy in it.
And then another kind of unhinged character that I think he played well was he played Prince John in
Robin Hood.
Yeah.
You and I love that Robin Hood. Let's watch that tonight.
Okay, I will.
Because that is such a good... I remember seeing that movie in the theater well before I fell in love with Oscar Isaac, although I do remember the scene where he stands up and he's, you know, mostly naked in bed, and he's got those insane blue contacts, which are just... Like, they are so disruptive. And it's so weird seeing him with blue eyes, right? But yeah, I remember in the theater seeing that and being like, damn, he hot. But like, Scott Grimes and fucking Kearney from Lost.
Yep. Oh, I was just going to, and just in case people don't know what we're talking about, it's the 2010 Robin Hood with Russell Crowe as Robin Longstride.
And fucking Kate Blanchett as Maid Marian.
Yep.
And Matthew
McFadden
as the Sheriff of Nottingham.
One of our favorites here.
Fucking, God, he's so good in Deadpool.
I mean,
he's so fucking good in Deadpool.
You got Max von Sydow,
Yeah.
William Hurt, Mark Strong.
Oh my God.
Danny Houston, who I was just watching
the trailer for...
You got the trailer for...
No, it's a new movie coming out, and it looks sort of terrible, but...
And I'm blanking.
But Danny Houston's in it. We watched the trailer like today or
Crow.
yesterday. The Crow!
Yeah.
God, that looks bad.
It does.
God, that looks so bad. Like, the fact that we had to watch that trailer while watching Deadpool and Wolverine again, it's just...
When people were talking about The Crow,
Yeah.
about them doing a remake, and all the fanboys were up in arms because it's not my Crow, you know, because, of course, every movie has to be sacred.
Yes.
And untouched for history.
We keep remaking them.
Well, they're not sacred to the studios.
No, that's true.
They just see dollar signs.
Yeah.
The fans consider all movies sacred.
Yeah, that is
no matter
true.
how good or bad they were, because I don't think even the original Crow was good. But that's because I didn't grow up being a fanboy of The Crow. It's just one of those movies that people find highly entertaining, and like, you know, Brandon Lee's greatest
performance
and greatest performance.
Well,
and greatest,
he didn't do a lot. So.
No, but you know. But what my whole point is
back to Robin Hood. Oh no, The Crow.
The Crow was the that legitimately. So I was before the trailer came out. I was like, "Oh, calm down, fanboys.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Yeah.
Watch the trailer first. No, this looks like shit.
It looks so bad.
It looks very bad.
Oh my god! Like, what are you doing, younger Skarsgård? Bill Skarsgård? Like, did your money run out? What are we doing?
You got Mark Addy also as Friar Tuck.
Fucking love Mark Addy.
And in case people don't know who Mark Addy is, he was King Baratheon, Robert Baratheon in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but he was also in A Knight's Tale, and
so many stuff.
He's done so much.
Knight's Tale is by far my favorite Mark. I mean,
would you rather watch A Knight's Tale?
Every single actor in A Knight's Tale, that is my favorite project of theirs.
Even Heath Ledger?
Yes. I absolutely love Heath Ledger in that movie.
For me, it might be 10 Things I Hate About You. But that was formative to my teenage soul.
Yeah, that's another actor who's just done so much.
Yeah.
Didn't get to do even more. Kevin Durant as Little John.
Fucking, and that's one of the few times I've liked that dude, because I
he
hated
usually
him so much
He usually
on Lost.
plays a huge douchebag. The fact that Kevin Durant wasn't in American Psycho.
Oh no, he would have been great as that. I don't know. He's a bit too unconventionally handsome. All those other dudes were just straight up yuppie handsome. Kevin Durant's got kind of a weird look, right?
Yeah.
But God, I fucking love him in
like you
Robin
said,
Hood. And Scott
Grimes
motherfucking my beloved Grimes. Ugh.
This has turned into the Robin Hood podcast.
I know.
We've forgotten about American Psycho altogether. We're just like...
The Oscar Isaac bit's running long today.
I think you and I are excited of the prospect of watching Robin Hood again.
Yeah, let's turn the air conditioning on, have another beer, have another shot, make dinner.
Yeah.
And then watch some Robin Hood. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
Excellent. And that has been this week's episode of Movie Mingle. We hope that you enjoyed it as much as the two of us enjoyed making it for you, and not necessarily as much as I enjoyed this fucking movie. God, I hated it. But you know what? That's okay. If you love it, good on you. I don't get it, but please don't explain to me why, because I just don't care. You can always follow us on Instagram, Threads, and Letterboxd at MovieMinglePod. You can write us at movieminglepod@gmail.com with all your ideas, suggestions, fan theories, and rants about how much you love American Psycho. You can find us on YouTube at Movie Mingle Podcast, which I'm not actually sure how well it's doing over there, but, you know, people like it, and that's sometimes how they ingest podcasts, and good for you. We really appreciate any and all listens. In fact... I know that it's going to be a little bit behind at this point, but since we do record these a few weeks in advance, our little podcast has just recently gone over 1,000 downloads, which is kind of insane considering that this is just a silly little thing that my husband and I like to do mainly with each other. And, you know, that any and all of our fans, be it really good friends of us, really good friends of ours or family members, or people that have discovered this on our own, like, we love you. It means the world to us. And thank you for enjoying our weird, wacky, goofy little show with all its imperfections. We really, really appreciate you. Next week, we've got the menu coming up. It is our 30th episode, which is very exciting because what an achievement. And yeah, I guarantee you it's going to be a lot of fun, that particular episode, because I really loved the menu. And I have worked in restaurants before and have daydreamed of lighting people on fire like they were s'mores. Server life. Until then, we love you. Go out. Please don't murder anybody with a pickaxe, unless it's Jared Leto. I probably shouldn't say that. Please don't murder anybody with an axe. It's better for all of us if you don't. And go mingle. Bye.
Are you an effective team?
We are an effective team.
Let them fight.
How did you just do that?
I'm a really good lawyer. Here on Caladan, we've ruled by air power and sea power. On Arrakis, we need to cultivate desert power.
Welcome, Mr. Beach. What's that bar? I'm a little confused.
Well, we wouldn't want that, would we?
I don't want to brag, but I will. I was in the Avengers.
The Avengers?
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
What is that?
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Toga. Toga.